Welcome back to another Diablo Immortal video. Inside of this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you a brand new Dungeon Necromancer build that has been featured by Paragon, a good friend of mine who actually helps do many builds for not only myself, but others inside of the community as well. This build has insane amounts of damage, tears down bosses extremely quickly, and is a great way to build out your Necromancer if you're really focused on that DPS. As you're about to see right here, the mid-boss in the Cavern of Echoes gets torn to shreds in just seconds. I'm going to break down this build in full inside of this video and then give you more examples of what gameplay looks like from our boy Paragon. Now let's dive into the build. Now to start off with the headpiece that he's wearing on this build, he's utilizing Blinding Storm. As you can see, he's got the magic affixes there as well, and he has a rank 9 5 out of 5 star Chip of Stoned Flesh being used right there. And the legendary right now, the Storm Rider Legion, command skeletons now summon the Storm Rider Legion, who automatically teleport to and damage enemies with lightning. And their damage is increased. Remember, notice that every single piece of gear here has been awakened. Everything is awakened, getting the max potential. We're going to move on through all of the pieces of this build right now. Next up, we have the chest piece, which is Stormcaller's Bones. Magic affix is for the Wrath form and Bone Wall. He has a rank 8, 5 out of 5 star Bottled Hope inside of this one. And the legendary affix, Bone Armor, now generates a pulse that wreaths you and your summons in lightning, causing electric links to form that damage enemies. Bone Armor damage is increased as well because the slot has been awakened. So it's making your entire build an electric focused build as well, doing a lot of AoE damage. Notice we have right here a Howler's Call inside of Synod's Anointing. Legendary affix, Skeletal Mage maximum charges are increased by 1, and the cooldown here is also reduced. That was a rank 8 on the Howler's Call. Moving on, that was the shoulder piece as well. Now moving on to the legs, Bleak Augury, Bone Spirits and Commands Skeletons affixes right there. We have a rank 8, 5 out of 5 star Blood-Soaked Jade Gem, and we are looking at the magic or the legendary Disembodied. Wrath form now increases your movement speed and evasion rating. Oops, let me get back to that really quickly. Invasion rating, allowing you to move unhindered through enemies and generate corpses when you pass through them. Wraith form cooldown is also reduced right there. Next up, we have the Ramshackle Scythe. This is the first primary weapon with command skeletons getting an affix. He's rocking a rank 10 2-star gem, Pain Clasp inside of this one, and the legendary affix, Bone Spear, launches a larger penetrating spear, dealing 34,000 plus damage. This is no longer reduced when hitting multiple enemies. Bone Spear damage is increased by an additional 9%, plus the damage because of the slot being awakened as well. Going on to the stance piece of gear, we have the Blight Maw. Command skeletons have a 10% chance to summon additional skeletons. That's what we have as our magic affix. Going with a rank 7, 5 out of 5 star Echoing Shade Gem, coming in strong with all those rank 5s. And then the legendary affix here, Bone Spear, also poisons enemies hit for 15,000 damage over 3 seconds. And of course, the damage is increased by 90%, and then again by another 10%. The Prong, magic affixes with Bone Spikes. You also got some cheat death and crit on that one, which I always like. Gloom Cask, I believe this was a 4 out of 5 star, and it was a rank 6 on the Gloom Gem. And the legendary effects decreases the time required to raise new skeletal champions by 57%, more than twice as fast. And the cooldown is then decreased by 10%. You could also see that he's using a 6-piece Vexed for the cursed properties on this one. Moving on to the second, that was the secondary piece of gear. Now the stance piece of gear, Skeletal Mage is getting a buff. We have the Seeping Bile, rank 8, 5 out of 5 star Seeping Bile gem, and Thunder Mage. Skeletal Mage now summons Thunder Mages that attack with Chain Lightning. Skeletal Mage damage is increased by 18%, and then damage is increased by 10%. And also notice, Lashed is the two-piece being used, which is essentially going to throw out those whips after primary attack is used for the cursed properties. Moving forward, we're looking at some of the secondary gear. He's going with a 4-piece Vathu, increases the duration of all beneficial effects on you or your party members, and increases the target's attack speed by 30% for 3 seconds each time you use a skill to grant a beneficial effect to you or a party member. Then he's also going to be going here with the Shepherd's Call to Wolves. Makes sense for a Necromancer. A 2-piece here. Your summons deal 15% more damage, and critical hit chance increased by 3% for each of your summons up to a maximum of 18%. So really some good damage from your summons being used right there. As we mentioned before, you're getting Lashed, the 2-piece, and the 6 pieces of Vexed. I'm glad that he showed that in his sharing of the recording for me right here. I actually really enjoy Lashed. I use it on my Barbarian build as well. I do not use Vexed on my Barb, but it's what you should be using here on your Necromancer. As you can see, he's going in with the first skill being the Skeletal Mage, which we all know what the Skeletal Mage can do. And it has Thunder Mage as one of the changes to the FXs being used on that one. Next up, he is going with Command Skeletons. It's a must-use for a Summons Necro build. Stormrider Legion is the affix that's being changed up inside of this one so that we can get that different type of damage there. Moving on, he's going to go into Wrath Form, and Disembodied is what is going to increase the movement speed, the affix that's focused on that one. And then Bone Armor is going to give you Pulse Armor for the change of affix, generate the pulse that wreaths around you, making all of that lightning happen surrounding you, which is really nice and strong. And Bone Spear is the primary, which has a couple of affixes on it as well, poisoning enemies, and also you got the ultimate Dread Skull Scythe. So those are the skills and the primary attack that he's using. Looks like he's coming in with Slinger as the Paragon tree that he's currently using. How about a little demonstration of damage being done by this build? Check out the total damage in millions. This is absolutely insane for the amount of damage being done here. 10 seconds, 60 million damage. Now the damage that you just witnessed on the training dummy, you'll see in full effect as we're in the Cavern of Echoes final boss. Just watch how quickly he's soloing the dungeon, and he's completely tearing down this boss extremely quickly, not allowing for any redeployment out of the ground or anything. Just super fast, solo, all of his summons in full effect, utilizing all of the skills. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, and final bar taken down that quickly. We also have another demonstration of him running through one of the least favorite dungeons of all, the Silent Monastery. It's definitely one of my least favorite. Takes the longest to get through, and you have to use all of the light posts and the light elements inside of the dungeon to progress through it. I personally don't love it, but you get to see just how he gets through, again, doing this completely solo. It's a really impressive build, but one thing we need to think about with the Necromancer is the Necromancer's build is very specific to a Necromancer in the gear that you use, in the gems that you decide to utilize and upgrade here, going to oftentimes or potentially be very specific to a Necro, making it a little bit more difficult to class change to something different, utilizing the same gems that you may use in there. With that being said, if you go with a lot of 5-star gems like we saw Paragon go with inside of this video, most of those are able to be swapped over and used effectively with other classes. Notice he didn't use any summons build style 1-star or 2-star gems that would be very and only specific to a Necromancer. So I personally love the Necro class. It's extremely unique, one of my favorite classes inside of Diablo Immortal, and really love summons builds. So this is a perfect example as to what you can get if you put this build together. Obviously, he's invested a lot of time. All of his gear was level 30. All of his gems are rank essentially 8 through 10, 5 out of 5 star. I believe the Gloom Cask was the only one that was at rank 6. Everything has been awakened, so really a lot of effort put into the build, a lot of time, but you could have something similar and work your way to this kind of progress utilizing the Necromancer. Thanks Paragon for sharing everything inside of this video. We have another boss going down right here super quickly. Ancient Nightmare getting torn apart. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of the build in the comment section below, and I'll see you back here in tomorrow's video because I appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel.